Welcome back from the break. You're watching NewsX. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. The size of the Indian economy has swelled by 87% in US dollar terms in past 9 years, touching $3.75 trillion. The center said the Indian economy is now the fifth largest in the world, overtaking countries like the UK, France, Canada, as well as Australia. All economic indicators have been positive in terms of GST revenue collection, which is up by 12%, and retail inflation, which is eased down to 4.25% this year. Joining us at this point is Wing Commander Prof. S. Sudhakaran, Global Strategic Defence Expert. We also have Ajay Dua, former Commerce Secretary, Government of India, joining us live. Sharad Kohli, Senior Economist, is also live with us. Rajiv Gupta, Senior Economist, also joins us live. Sharad, let me begin with you first on what you make of these latest figures which have come out and what they say about the India story. Sharad, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear.
Sharad, did you hear my question?
No, I couldn't hear your question.
Sharad, I was asking you about these latest figures, what they tell us about the India story.
Well, I think it clearly speaks of the fact that India has made drastic progress in the last 9 years. And, you know, if you look at the numbers, in 2014, we were about 2 trillion. In 2002, we were 1 trillion. So I think a classic example of how to measure this performance is that from the year 1947, when India got free, when India got independence, till 2014, we did about $2 trillion. And from 2014 to 2023, that is in 9 years, we did literally $1.75 trillion. So I think anybody who questions the performance of this government must first look at the numbers. I mean, you can be very subjective in your comments, you can be very critical in your comments. But what about the numbers? The numbers say it all. I mean, the numbers are in public domain, and these numbers have been, revealed by an international agency. So when an international agency is revealing the number, we have a reason to believe. And look at the initiative. I mean, the biggest takeaway for me right now is 100 lakh crore plus of infrastructure development which is being done. You know, you travel across the country, the road network, the railway network, the airports, you know, smart cities, electrification of houses, you know, building toilets. There has been across the board development. I think this is the right answer. There are two ways of approaching your electorate. If you talk from an election point of view, either you give these freebies, make 100 units of electricity free, give a free bus travel, or you make that person enabled for rest of his life by giving them a road network, giving him a chance to find his own occupation. So I think Startup India, Stand Up India, Mudra Yojana, Jan Dhan Yojana. I mean, if I count the, the takeaways from this government, I can probably burn away the rest of your show time. But the point of the matter is that the growth or the progress is reflected in the country as a whole. And look at, I mean, if your country is fifth largest today, then you cannot question that. I mean, the international agencies certify we are the fifth largest. If an international agency says we are the fastest growing, obviously we are the fastest growing. So I think we need to keep in mind that the progress, and this progress, the best part of this, it trickles down to the people of the country. These are not just numbers. It trickles down to the people of the country. It converts to prosperity. It leads to increase in income. It leads to elimination of poverty and unemployment, which was a perennial problem in our country. That also has come down from 8.2%. It is now below 7%. So I think a country of our size, 142, 143 crore people, as if you believe what UN is saying, I think for this kind of population size to achieve this kind of growth is stupendous. Because if your population was, let's say, of UK 7 to 8 crores and you had achieved this progress, no big deal. But if 143 crore population can achieve this kind of progress, I think it counts even more as far as the country is concerned. Uday, if you can hear me.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, Mr. Dua, stay with us. Let me, in fact, quickly take that back across to Sharad on, where this now takes us for our dream to become the third largest economy in the world. Obviously, these are good signs. These are healthy signs. This means we're on the right track. But surely there is more to be done, Sharad.
Yes, I mean, Uday, there can never be a level of perfection, first of all. I mean, you can never say that we've reached or we are at the speed at which we would have wanted us to be. But, there are a few challenges. I mean, from what Mr. Dua said, an offshoot of that is that for me, the biggest challenge for our country right now is inequality of income. we find the rich getting richer, we find the poor getting poorer. The gap in the income between the upper strata and the lower strata of the society has been gradually growing. I think that is one matter of concern. And I agree with Mr. Dua when he pointed out agriculture, because agriculture per se, when 60 to 70% of our population still directly or indirectly depends on agriculture. And that is one sector which is not an absolute profit-making sector. I think we all would agree that, there are a lot of variances here and there. Most of them are small farmers. So I think the progress has still to properly trickle down to the villages. As you step out of Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Mangaluru, move out 25 kilometers from Delhi, let's say, you find that from India you step into Bharat. So I think it is the growth must reach from India to Bharat. That's my first point. But for us to be, but the good thing is that we can catapult to the next level for many reasons. And one of the main reasons I would like to highlight here is the digital economy. I think the speed at which our digital economy is picking up, with 90 crore transactions happening every month, 50 lakh crore worth of digital transactions happening. I think fintech is one thing which can really, really push the growth, because right now we are doing about $155 billion of digital economy. This can grow, Uday, in the next, let's say, 5 to 7 years to 1 trillion. So you can imagine there will be a big chunk of growth which will be added because of fintech. That for me is a huge takeaway. And I remember the comment made by World Economic Forum a couple of weeks ago. He mentioned about something very useful. He said there is a snowball effect. I think that snowball effect will probably wipe out some of the shortcomings and pitfalls, or let's say where we have underachieved. Those aspects will get covered by this. When a snowball moves, when a snowball effect comes, you wrap in it so many shortcomings, and it's because of the sheer size of the population. Because 55 to 60% of our population comprises of consumption, and in a consumption-driven economy, a typical characteristic, it revives very quickly. It also recovers very quickly, and we've seen this in the past. We've seen it during COVID. We've seen it during the Russia-Ukraine peak of the crisis. Although I won't say that the crisis is over yet, but when the sanctions were being imposed, over 5,000 sanctions being imposed on Russia, India still managed to hold its course. I mean, still importing oil at a concessional rate from Russia, despite sanctions, diplomatically moving ahead in a very, very right manner. I think all these factors will probably, whereas I agree with the shortcomings, I agree with the challenges we have. There's no doubt about it. I mentioned it myself. But I think the snowball effect with the World Economic Forum, as I said, I'm not a big fan of World Economic Forum anyway. But some of the things, some of the comments when they come, you do pick up things which are relevant to our country. So I do feel that snowball effects will end up wiping off some of the things. Education is another area where I feel challenges there, because the gap between education of the towns and the villages, you find that the finished product coming out of both the places, we just spoke about 75 crore people being young. So I think for that young population, we need a right kind of education infrastructure. If somebody who's being educated in Mumbai, Bangalore, Delhi, the quality of education that person gets, and somebody being educated in, let's say, a town out of Delhi, let's say Khatoli or Muzaffarnagar, I think the level of education and the quality of finished product is completely different. The quicker we are able to wipe off this gap in education, I think the faster we grow, because the talent and the skill development will come to the fore at that point. So I think all in all, a lot of challenges for a country of this size.
Okay. I'm afraid I'm going to have to leave it at that. My thanks to all of our guests for joining us. We've run out of time. We have to quickly turn our focus to the Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. He's holding a press conference